Hello and welcome to BusyWorksBeats.com. I need you guys to smash that like button so I can extend that S so we can get straight into it. Today I'm going to show you how to mix your vocals in FL Studio, Ableton, and Logic Pro using only the stock plugins. We're going to start with FL Studio first. Let's hop straight into it. The first step is to figure out the key of your song. So we're mixing the beat 2-track and then the vocals. Now, this picture plugin is going to be sent to our vocals here. Now, if you don't have stuff routed, first thing you want to do is go to your channel rack. Click here, go to audio, so it finds only your audio. Double click, hit Control L. That will send those sounds to the mixer. So now I have them separated. Very important. Okay, so the next thing is understanding that we're only working with a 2-track beat. And we need to find the key. So let's switch back to our channel rack, which is this icon here. We're going to put this on all so we can see everything. I'm using a plugin called Scalar 2. You could use any online tools to figure out the key. The first thing you need to do if you're using Auto-Tune is figure out the key. I can't tell you how many people put the wrong key in Auto-Tune and it makes the vocal sound worse. So let's listen to the track, figure out the key. So it says the key is G minor. We're going to take this information and go to Picture, open up the mixer here. We're going to open up our vocal, click the drop down and find Picture from your plugin list. Let's turn on Picture. We're going to put this on G as the root note and minor as the scale. This is basically, if you're a low singer, you could lower this. For now, we're not going to mess with this, but you could lower the frequency for how low it detects pitch correction. In short, it starts on the fastest option, so here's what it sounds like. Let's just make this less robotic by pulling up the speed. All this ice, I need a box. Shout out to my jeweler. I came and shot it like. Now keep in mind, different beats have different tunings, so you also need to understand the tuning of your beat, which is here with the 440 hertz. Not everything's 440 hertz. So you could even have the right key and still be out of tune because you're not tuning your to the actual 440. That's a different video beyond the scope of this video. Anyhow, we have it on G minor. Auto-Tune is way better, but this is stock plugins. Okay, so we're on auto correction is the first step. Next step is compression. You're like, why are you using compression before EQ? Because compression will pull up the sound and EQ will help us just kind of shave it down. Let's use the Fruity limiter for this. Put it on compressor mode. Seeing compression will help you with compression. Let's lower the threshold and turn up what's called the ratio. Usually 4:1, 2:1 is where people use on vocals. Let's lower the threshold. What we're doing with this compressor is just making those peaks. Let me undo the compression. See how some stuff's like way up here and then other stuff's down here and then other stuff's way up here. What we're doing is just making it less up and down. The settings I would recommend using are just a higher attack, anything above maybe 30 milliseconds, and then the release time, I like fast release times for vocals. All this ice, I need a box. Shout out to my jeweler. I came and shot it like a diamond. Feel like Rick the Ruler. Okay, so it's not audible compression where you can actually hear it and it's pumping and it's, you know, that type of thing. Now, if you wanted to hear more, we would turn the gain knob up. My email, I didn't got to choose it. Hopped in a booth, then went stupid over Metro. All this ice, I need a box. Shout out to my jeweler. I came and shot it. Now, this is a really advanced tip, but if you guys have a lot of noise in your signal, okay, you need to get rid of the background noise. Most of the time, it's not that you guys can't mix vocals, it's that you have too much stuff in your room. Your vocal goes out of your mouth. Let me just make myself big. Your vocal goes out of your mouth. It hits the walls then bounce the signal back into the microphone. And it does that in so many directions to where the mic is not just picking up what you're saying into the mic, it's picking up what you're saying into the mic and then everything else around you as well. So if your recording environment is not good, neither will your vocal takes be good. There's a plugin called Waves NS1 I would recommend to solve for that problem, but there is no magic plugin that's going to fix that. You guys just need better recording environments. I'd recommend the GIK, what is it called? GIK PIB. So GIK Acoustics, Portable Isolation Booth. I was recommended this by Mixbus TV and it works very well. I have 2 of them. I combine them to make like a little booth. I put the GIK acoustic panel on top as like a ceiling to it. And then I put a sound blanket to where like it's its own vocal booth. Okay, so that's how you would fix all this background noise. So another way to do it, if it's just a noisy signal for some reason, you would use the noise gate and up your threshold. Basically, this is saying how loud is the noise. So if I crank this up and exaggerate and turn down what's called the gain, anything that's below that point will be silenced. So I don't recommend using this if you don't know how to use this. Also, there are better tools than FL's built-in one. Okay, but what you would do is just slowly increase the threshold with the gain down. Now keep in mind, this cuts off the ends of your words. So if you want detail in your song, this is not what you would be doing. And still, it only takes out noise. It doesn't take out all the reflections in your microphone.
My email, I didn't got to choose it. Hopped in a booth, then went stupid over Metro. All this ice, I need a box. Shout out to my jeweler.
So here's before compression.
Shot it like a diamond, feel like Rick the Ruler. All these beats in my email, I didn't got to choose
after.
it. Hopped in a booth, then.
And most people don't know there's a saturator built right inside of the Fruity limiter. So if you lower this saturation, you'll also get built-in saturation. Let's try it out.
My email, I didn't got to choose it. Hopped in a booth, then went stupid over Metro. All this ice, I need a box.
So it just makes the sound a little more edgy. To really hear it, you would have to push the volume into this plugin. So what we could do is just go to the playlist here. In FL Studio, I think 21.3 and up, you can now use these gain clips. We're just going to left click and just turn it up into the compressor.
My email, I didn't got to choose it. Hopped in a booth, then went stupid over Metro.
So you guys can hear that crunchy sound.
My email, I didn't got to choose it.
Also, the threshold was super low.
My email, I didn't got to choose it.
So this is no compression, just saturation right now.
My email, I didn't got to choose it. Hopped in a booth, then went stupid.
It adds like a zzz to the sound.
My email, I didn't got to choose it. Hopped in a booth.
So that's something you could use. I wouldn't recommend it all the time. It has a very specific sound. But let's lower the threshold.
My email, I didn't got to choose it. Hopped in a booth, then went stupid over Metro. All this ice, I need a box. Shout out.
Again, different vocals require different amounts of compression. Our goal is just to pull up the levels so now it's competitive. Again, these are stock plugins, and you're only going to get so much with stock stuff. Let's add a parametric EQ too, at least in FL, I should say. Once you guys hear Ableton and Logic, you're going to be like, why do I even use stock plugins in FL? But it is what it is. To each his own. Nextly, we're going to start shaping the sound. So let's boost up the highs. I like to boost the highs at about 12K. I'm moving a little quicker here because this is arbitrary information. It's really up to your creativity here, but we're going to boost everything above 12K.
My email, I didn't got to choose it. Hopped in a booth, then went stupid over Metro. All this.
It just makes the vocals feel bigger.
My email.
If you want more clarity in your vocal, boost around 5 kilohertz.
My email, I didn't got to.
Which is 5,000 hertz.
My email, I didn't got.
The only thing about FL that's just not, they need a built-in one, is a dynamic EQ. I would not recommend static EQs for a lot of vocal mixing because taking out mud is more than just carving out an entire portion of your vocal. It's only when it hits a certain amount of volume. So this, you got to be careful with trying to do everything with this EQ. But basically, frequencies around 200 to 400 hertz have a lot of what's called mud and things you don't necessarily want.
My email, I didn't got to choose it. Hopped in a booth.
So that's the frequency it's basically adding.
My email, I didn't got to choose it. Hopped in a booth, then went stupid.
It doesn't sound like a cool frequency, so let's pull that out. Now, I'd recommend just cutting 3 dB. You could read the values in the top left of the screen. When you guys are cutting, make sure that it's not this. I don't want to give you rules, but I like to cut in smaller bands so that I'm not affecting a lot of the sound, just a particular part of the sound.
My email, I didn't got.
Now, you see all this rumbling at the bottom.
My email.
A lot of people, what they'll do is they'll do a high pass filter. You left click to change the shape here.
My email.
They'll cut out the bottom, but then your vocals become boxy again.
My email, I didn't got to choose it.
You hear that boxy tone?
My email, I didn't got to choose it. Hopped in a booth, then went stupid over Metro. All this ice, I need a box. Shout out to my jeweler. I came and shot it like a diamond, feel like Rick.
So this EQ I wouldn't use. I'm trying to show you guys like how to mix, but at the same time, I wouldn't do this on a stock EQ. So it's hard to teach this stuff because I don't want to teach you stuff in FL that I normally wouldn't do. I would use something else for this.
My email.
You could do a gentler cut, like something like that, instead of these harsh cuts like this, because it makes it too boxy.
My email, I didn't got to choose it. Hopped in a booth, then.
And also we want to tame somewhere around the 700s. It's just, it has a lot of energy sometimes.
My email, I didn't got to choose it. Hopped in a booth, then went stupid over Metro. All this,
see right there, it just has way too much energy. So we're going to pull that down. It's just a little too much going on right there.
My email, I didn't got to choosing. Hopped in a booth, then went stupid over Metro.
But as you guys can hear, the EQ doesn't really add much to the sound.
My email, I didn't got to choose.
So when you guys are mixing, you're looking for these dramatic changes. And I'm telling you guys, it comes down to the recording way more than it comes down to just small little changes that you do in the mix. Okay, so that's really all you need is a compressor and an EQ.
My email, I didn't.
Now, if you want to take it further, what we could do is copy the compressor. So now we have two compressors. We'll do one is more of a limiter and the other one is more of an EQ. So we have compressor and then limiter. I tried not to show you guys this first because I don't want to confuse the beginners. I will give you guys free templates for this. Just go to busyworksbeats.com/FL Studio. But I'm trying to tell you guys from experience, the reason you're having such a hard time in FL is because this just wasn't built with the right tools for vocal mixing. It's just not easy. Once you see Logic Pro's flow, you're going to be like, why do I use FL to record? It's just, okay, so it's just the fact that you're using FL. Okay, now that we understand that, let's go to limiter mode.
My email, I didn't.
The limiter just has a preset ratio, so we don't have to worry about that.
My email, I didn't got to choose.
Now we're going to mess with the gain going into the limiter.
My email, I didn't got to choosing. Hopped in a booth, then went stupid over Metro. All this ice, I need a box. Shout out to my jeweler.
So the goal is just push it without making the limiter feel like it has to go like pump. I'll exaggerate.
My email, I didn't got to choosing. Hopped in a booth, then went stupid over Metro. All this ice, I need a box. Shout out to my jeweler.
Again, the number one flaw about this vocal is you guys can hear the room. You can really hear the room now that we've compressed it and limited the vocal. You can really hear that room now. And you can't solve this in the mix. You have to go back and record a better, cleaner take.
My email, I didn't.
Because
my email, I didn't got to.
You have to. Okay, so now that we have that, now the vocal really stands out. So it's compressor. I don't want to do that at first to confuse you guys, but it's pitch correction, compressor, limiter, and then EQ. Okay, so that's the simple chain. Now everything from that point is creativity. So you guys could use delays, you could use reverbs. There is no set way to do anything from this point. So, you know, I don't want to like teach you guys everything because it'll just be me showing you a bunch of sound design techniques that you don't need to know necessarily. But what we're going to do is open up a new channel in FL called Delay. Let's open up Fruity Delay 3. We're going to pull the dry level down, keep the wet level increased, go to the reverb channel, open up Fruity Reverb 2, right click and reset the wet level. I like to widen out my reverbs, and there are presets here. So if you guys don't feel like doing all this, just click the presets on large hall or the venue. Okay. And then we're going to cut out the lows, everything below about 200 Hertz. You can read the values in the top left. So now what we could do is click on the vocal and send it as a duplicate to these channels. So we're going to left click the up arrow, click on your vocal and left click the up arrow at the bottom.
My email.
So it's sending a duplicate over to the delay.
My email, I didn't got to.
Now, most people don't use straight delay anymore. They use delay and reverb combined. So what I'll do is show you guys a more advanced technique. Click the drop down arrow, go to save preset as, and drag it beneath your reverb. So now it's reverb into delay or vice versa, delay into reverb. It's pretty much the same thing. So we're not going to use the delay signal. We're just going to mute that for now. But click on your vocal, left click the up arrow at the reverb channel.
My email, I didn't got to choosing. Hopped in a booth, then went stupid over Metro. All this ice, I need a box. Shout out to my jeweler.
So let's flip the order, delay, reverb into delay.
My email, I didn't got to choosing. Hopped in a booth, then went stupid over Metro. All this ice, I need a box. Shout out to my jeweler. I came and shot. My email, I didn't got to choosing. Hopped in a booth, then went stupid over Metro. All this ice, I need a box. Shout out.
So again, the beat needs to be mixed for this to fully make sense. So at this point, we would need to mix the beat. So vocal mixing is not just the vocal by itself. It's also mixing the beat to match what the vocal's doing. Another thing you guys can mess with for saturation is the Fruity Wave Shaper. I'd recommend putting this directly on the signal, but some people might use it in parallel. What parallel means is just putting it on its own channel, calling it like saturation, and then loading up the Fruity Wave Shaper here. And we're going to blend it in. So there's two different ways to blend stuff in. I don't want to confuse the beginners here. Just go to the vocal, left click the up arrow. Now we're on the saturator.
My email.
The goal with this Fruity Wave Shaper is to sizzle the sound. So let's pull this curvature up, go to the cog icon, put this on oversample mode like 4x, and then we're gonna go to mess with this mix level here. Now there's so many things to teach you guys. I'm trying to keep it simple, okay? But let's just send it over to the saturation.
My email, I didn't got to choose it.
As you can see, the signal is now amplifying. So we need to turn down the post level.
My email, I didn't got to choose it. Hopped in a booth, then
I'm gonna exaggerate this so you guys can really hear.
My email, I didn't got to choose it. Hopped in a booth, then went stupid.
So here's what it's adding. Let me solo this for you.
My email, I didn't got to choose it. Hopped in a booth, then went stupid over Metro. All this ice, I need a box. Shout out to my jeweler. I came and shot it like.
So the further you take this curve, the more saturation you get.
My email, I didn't got to choose it. Hopped in a booth, then.
And then we could pull back the mix level.
My email, I didn't got.
But the point is to have the mix level at the highest.
My email.
And send the volume into it.
My email, I didn't got to choose it.
So it just adds that boxy square tone. From here, some people use Fruity Chorus to kind of widen out the sound, so it's not just.
My email, I didn't got.
Or they might use Fruity Flanger. Again, there's no one way to do anything.
My email, I didn't got to choose it. Hopped in a.
And then they'll blend this in with the original. So let's do that.
My email, I didn't got to choose it. Hopped in a booth, then went stupid over Metro.
But this is why I said you might want to add it directly to the track.
My email, I didn't got to choose it. Hopped in a booth, then went stupid over Metro.
Hear that
All
boxy?
this ice, I need.
Like he's talking through a megaphone.
My email, I didn't got to choose it.
Okay, so that's what this plugin does basically. So if you want less of it, pull back the mix level.
My email, I didn't got to.
We're gonna put it directly on the track for many different reasons. One, for phase, so that we're not having phase issues with that parallel.
All this ice, I need a box. Shout out to my jeweler. I came and shot it like a diamond. Feel like Rick the Ruler. All these beats in my email.
So here's before.
All this ice, I need a box. Shout out to my jeweler. I came and shot it like a diamond. Feel like Rick the Ruler. All these beats in my email.
Okay, so this kind of is what it is. Here's with the effects on.
All this ice, I need a box.
Let me turn off the saturation.
All this ice, I need a box. Shout out to my jeweler. I came and shot.
And again, with the beat not mixed, it's just super quiet and in the background. So this is where you guys need to understand mixing and just how to combine sounds. I just don't have time to sit here and teach you everything about everything right now. But vocal mixing is not just the vocal. You need to also understand how to blend in the beat. I have a course called the Mixing Fundamentals where you guys can learn a lot more.
All this ice, I need a box. Shout out to my jeweler. I came and shot it like a diamond. Feel like Rick the Ruler. All these beats in my email. I didn't got to choose it. Hopped in a booth, then went stupid over Metro. All this ice, I need a box. Shout out to my jeweler. I came and shot it like a diamond. Feel like Rick the Ruler. All these beats in my email. I didn't got to choose it. Hopped in a booth, then went stupid over.
So as you guys can hear, the pitcher is not the greatest option for pitch correction. It just has so many artifacts and it's just not auto-tune. I'd recommend Auto-Tune Pro if you guys can afford it. Way better than pitcher. Pitcher is probably the worst vocal pitch correction tool out of all the stock plugin tools. And that's why I didn't want to show you guys this. That's why I'm showing you guys this first. Now let's move into Ableton with the same exact vocals. All right, guys, now let's hop into Ableton Live 12. This is before the beta, so the Auto-Tune plugin that will come with Ableton Live isn't out just yet for public use. So we don't have any Auto-Tune plugins in Ableton. That's the main difference here.
All this
So we're just gonna have to deal with it, or you can download the free ones from Melda, but I wouldn't recommend that one. It doesn't sound good to my ear. Just saying. So as you can see, Auto-Tune is the hardest part of this entire thing, getting it right.
shot it.
Okay, so now that we have this set,
Shot it like a diamond. Feel like Rick the Ruler. All these beats in my email. I didn't got.
first step, we're gonna copy the same exact workflow. We're gonna go to the audio effects. Now, in this case, I'm not gonna use the noise gate because I didn't really need it. Let's just go straight to the compressor. They have a compressor and then a glue compressor. So either one,
Shot it like.
we're just gonna go 4 to 1 and then slowly lower this threshold.
Shot it like a diamond. Feel like Rick the Ruler. All these beats in my email. I didn't got to choose it. Hopped in a booth, then went.
You can see their compression is way more transparent.
Yeah. This ice, I need a box. Shout out to my jeweler. I came and shot.
Okay, so On the first compressor, I think we had a high attack and a lower release. Let's do something like 30 milliseconds.
All this ice, I need a box. Shout out to my jeweler. I came and shot it like a diamond. Feel like Rick the Ruler. All these beats in my email.
Okay, so the next thing we did was add a limiter. So let's use their just built-in limiter and let's see how much gain we could push into it.
All this ice, I need a box. Shout out to my jeweler. I came and shot it like a diamond. Feel like Rick the Ruler. All these beats in my email. I didn't got the
So I'd say compared to FL, night and day, this sounds way better than FL Studio's compressor and limiter. At least the way we were using it before. Without going into complex things, this sounds way better.
All this ice, I need a box. Shout out to my jeweler.
Pretty simple at this point. Now, again, after this, we could add an EQ. You don't need EQ. This is just if you want to add enhancements. And I believe if we click this up arrow, we can...
All this ice.
All right, so some things you might do is switch this to a high pass filter and cut out the lows.
All this ice, I need a box.
Now you got to be careful because it can add a boxy tone to your vocal.
All this ice, I need a box. Shout out to.
So I'd say about on this vocal 70 hertz and below we don't need. But again, once you start sharpening the Q, it can make it sound boxy.
All this ice, I need a box. Shout out to.
Now their Q does something different. We can switch to 4x mode, so it's a different dB per octave.
All this ice, I need a box.
But I could hear it adds more low tone like this to the vocal, so you guys got to be careful.
All this ice, I need a box. Shout out to my jeweler. I came and shot it like a diamond. Feel like Rick the Ruler. All these beats in my.
So it's adding some of this to the sound, so you guys got to be really, really careful with these high pass filters. Okay, nextly, let's boost somewhere around 12K. I believe we could type this in. Maybe not. Oh yeah, you click on it and then type. So click on it and type 12K. In this case, we're going to boost the highs.
All this ice, I need a box. Shout out to my jeweler.
And then we could change the Q to change out the shape.
All this ice, I need a box. Shout out to my jeweler. I came and shot.
So we're just making the vocal a little bit taller. I think what we did in the other one was cut around 200 or so.
All this ice.
So to test it, this EQ is not the easiest to use, by the way.
All this ice, I need a box. Shout out to my jeweler.
Okay, so a lot of people cut 200, but they're cutting the thing that makes their vocals sound like vocals. So it's not always good to cut 200, but you want to check between 200 and 400.
All this ice, I need a box. Shout out.
There are extra frequencies you don't necessarily need.
All this ice, I need a box. Shout out to my.
So this information we don't necessarily need because we do have the 200. So let's cut somewhere in between 200 and 400.
All this ice, I need a box.
Everybody's vocals completely different. My vocals are very low, so your vocals might not be that low.
All this ice, I need a box.
We're looking for the fundamental and then, you know, cutting in between the fundamental and the second harmonic. You don't need to know that.
All this ice, I need a box. Shout out to my.
Let's turn the EQ on and off.
All this ice, I need a box. Shout out to my jeweler. I came and shot it like a diamond. Feel like Rick the Ruler. All these beats in my email.
So when people tell me like, is EQ like gonna make or break a song? The answer is no. It's almost undetectable what we actually changed. That's why I said don't get caught up in people's hard rules because mixing should not make or break your song. Okay. Now that we have this, we could send it. Now by default, Ableton has a delay and reverb send.
All this.
So we just click these to send it over.
All this ice, I need a box. Shout out to my jeweler. I came and shot it like a diamond. Feel like Rick the Ruler.
If you want to access these, go to your mixer view. And on the right side here, we have both the delay channel and the reverb channel. So again, you guys can move these plugins, like you can move the delay over to the reverb. I don't know if it copies it or moves it completely. So now it moved it completely. Let's do the delay before the reverb. And now we have to go back to our send and figure out which one is A and which one is B. So this is A, this is B. Let's just turn this down. So now it should go.
All this ice, I need a box. Shout out to my jeweler. I came and shot it like a diamond.
And you could determine how much of that effect you want by sending more of the sound over.
All this ice, I need a box.
Now we are clipping. Okay, so we got to watch the levels in the mixer. We're not there yet.
All this ice, I need a box. Shout out to my jeweler.
That's really it. Now notice how that was a lot quicker. It's still a little bit sluggish on the workflow, especially around the EQ. But those are stock plugins for you guys. And one thing I would do, I think I did this on the master track before. Let me see here.
All this ice, I need a box. Shout out to my jeweler.
All right, so at this point on the master, I might add something like, you know, some kind of clipping tool to blend those together. This is not a mastering tutorial, but I don't think they have a clipping tool. I think let's add a glue compressor. Now this is not a hard rule. Okay, we're gonna turn the compressor off, the dry wet, and turn on what's called soft clipping.
All this ice, I need a box. Shout out to my jeweler. I came.
And then after that, we still need a limiter to catch any
All
peaks.
this ice, I need a box. Shout out to my jeweler.
It's hard to meter on here too. I can't really tell if we're going past 0 or 1.
All this ice, I need a box. Shout out to my jeweler. I came and shot it like a diamond. Feel like Rick the Ruler. All these beats in my ear.
So that will blend the vocal and the beat a little bit more. Again, there's tons more mixing that the beat needs to really feel like this is a full song. I would recommend getting all the multi-tracks. This is why buying a lease is different than buying the multi-tracks, because the multi-tracks, you have a lot more flexibility. Now let's move into Logic Pro to show you guys how much it's going to be night and day mixing this beat and the vocal. All right, so as you guys saw, Ableton was a little bit quicker. Let's see how fast we can get our vocals to sound good in Logic Pro. Let's hop straight into it. So this is Logic Pro. We're going to go to our vocals.
Feel like Rick the
And we're going to click on this. Make sure you click the eye icon to see this on the left side. And we're going to go to audio effects. Let's start with the compressor. Let's go to dynamics and let's pull up their compressor stereo. And here we're going to pull this up.
Ruler.
So I like the saturation. So let's put this on distortion, soft clipping, and we'll also mess with the threshold. So let's slowly lower the threshold from 0.
All these beats in my email, I didn't got to choosing. Hopped in a booth, then went stupid over Mets ice. I need a box. Shout out to my jeweler.
We're already like right where we need to be, and this took like 5 steps in the other DAWs. We're already here where we need to be with the vocal.
I came and
Now also we can mess with the limiter.
shot it like a diamond. Feel like Rick the Ruler. All these beats in my email, I didn't got to choosing. Hopped in a booth, then went
Thing is, to use the limiter, we have to push the gain a little bit.
stupid over Mets ice. I need a box. Shout out to my jeweler. I came and shot it like a diamond. Feel like Rick the Ruler. All these beats in my email, I didn't got to choosing. Hopped in.
There's different styles of compression as well, so let's try the different styles. Basically, these just add different harmonics to the sound,
In a booth,
and they react to the sound a little bit differently with their attack curves. Let's see what we could do with the attack. Now I'm going to take it off auto. We're going to pull it to about 30 milliseconds of attack and then a really fast release.
then went stupid over Mets ice. I need a box. Shout out to my jeweler. I came and shot it like a diamond. Feel like Rick the
Try
Ruler.
different compressors.
All these beats in my email, I didn't got to choosing. Hopped in a booth, then
Now this adds a lot of harmonics. As you guys can hear, the vocals sound like zzz, zzz. It's the harmonics that is adding to the sound.
went stupid over Mets ice. I need a box. Shout out to my jeweler. I came and shot it like a diamond. Feel like Rick the Ruler. All these beats in my email, I didn't got to choosing. Hopped in a booth.
So by far, Logic's stock plugins way better than all of the other DAWs. Well, Pro Tools is right up there with it though.
Booth, then went
But the best vocal chain that I've gotten from stock stuff is in Logic.
stupid over Mets ice. I need a box. Shout out to my jeweler. I came and shot it like a diamond. Feel like Rick the Ruler.
So for my taste, the FET is pretty good. It adds that harmonic that we need for the vocal to really add those small details up top.
All these beats in my email,
So we just got to level the volume here.
I didn't got to choosing. Hopped in a booth, then went stupid over Mets.
So you might not like it depending on your vocal. So my vocal is really low. So when I add harmonics, it's also filling out those frequencies that make it sound muddy because that's the next octave up. So the tricky part is, how do we feed this compressor without feeding it too much? And that's where you would use EQ going into this, but I don't have time to go through everything about everything right now, guys.
Mets ice.
Okay, so we're just gonna leave it as is. So that's the compressor. Nextly, we're gonna click here. We're gonna pull up an EQ under EQ. Let's go to their channel EQ. You guys might not be able to see it on your screen, but channel EQ is right here.
I
Use the low high pass filter here.
need
Let's do like 24 dB per octave, and let's cut it off at about 70 hertz.
a box. Shout out to my jeweler. I came and shot it like a diamond.
Now everything's becoming louder, so we also got to make sure to turn stuff down.
Feel like Rick the Ruler. All these beats in my email, I didn't got to choosing. Hopped in a booth, then went stupid over Mets ice. I need a
So here's
box.
where we're-
Shout out to my
We need to go to the compressor and lower our output gain. This is called gain staging here to monitor what we're doing with the gain.
jeweler.
Right now the gain
I
is,
came and shot it
it tells us on the left,
like a diamond. Feel like Rick the Ruler.
we came in at -7.5.
All these beats in my email, I didn't got to choosing.
Okay, so we're trying to mirror that on the right side.
Hopped in a booth, then went stupid over Mets ice. I need a box. Shout out to my jeweler.
It's not really giving us like it's very fast moving, so you got to eyeball that kind of. Okay, nextly, we're going to add this EQ.
I came and shot it like
Let's do what we did before, which is cut out that muddy frequency zone.
Like a diamond, feel like Rick the
Somewhere
Ruler.
around here.
All these beats in my email.
Remember, we added harmonics, so now we're going to cut out those harmonics.
I didn't got to choose.
And those harmonics only existed after the compressor, so EQing before the compressor wouldn't help this process.
Choosing, hopped in a booth, then
So now let's cut this. Let's do like -6.
went stupid over Mets ice. I need a box.
Let's boost the highs at about, let's turn that on. Let's type in 12,000 and boost these.
Shout out to my jeweler. I came and shot it like a diamond. Feel like Rick the Ruler. All these
And we're going to boost somewhere around 5K, which I forgot to do on the Ableton track.
beats in my email. I didn't got to choosing.
There's still frequencies, again, that this is not a perfect tutorial. I'm just trying to speedily show you guys. Okay, so I know there's like a lot of little nuances that I'm skipping over, but that's for our more advanced stuff. Just go to busyworksbeats.com and look for the mixing fundamentals. I'll leave a link below, but what we're doing now is just cutting out this.
Hopped in a booth, then went stupid over Mets ice. I need a box. Shout out to my
That it sounds like a hands over my mouth here.
jeweler. I came and
So let's cut this frequency. I like cutting in increments of 3, so 3, 6, or 9.
shot it like a diamond. Feel like Rick the Ruler. All these
And then to add more, I'll say body to the sound, we're going to boost up that lowest hill of the sound called a fundamental.
beats in my email. I didn't got to choosing. Hopped in a booth, then went stupid over Mets
Okay, so let's hear it before. Here's before.
ice. I need a box. Shout out to my jeweler. I came and shot it like a diamond. Feel like Rick the Ruler. All these beats in my email.
Here's
I
after.
didn't got to choosing. Hopped in a booth, then went stupid over
Again, the harmonics are a little harsh for my ear, so I might pull this back, but I do like the harmonics for most vocals.
Mets ice. I need a box.
Okay, now we're going to add a limiter to boost those levels because we don't have those harmonics.
Mets ice. I need a box. Shout out to my jeweler. I came and shot it like a diamond. Feel like Rick the Ruler. All these beats in my email. I didn't got to choosing. Hopped in a booth, then went stupid over Mets ice.
Okay, so at this point we can create a, the sends, okay, to create those delays and different things. I think in the mixer it might be even more complicated to do this, but we're going to skip that for now because that's more of the creative stuff. But that's how you would mix a vocal in Logic Pro. You saw how fast it is comparatively.
Need a box. Shout out to my jeweler. I came and shot it like a
So in this case, let's add on our group track, let's add a compressor. Usually I add the soft distortion. I'll turn off the compressor, turn the ratio all the way down and the threshold up.
diamond. Feel like Rick the Ruler. All these beats in my email. I didn't got to choosing. Hopped in a booth,
And again, you still have to learn how to mix the beat with the vocals. It's not just vocal mixing.
then went stupid over Mets ice. I need a box.
So here we have sends. So these sends can be grouped. Let's just do bus 1 in this case. So it created a track for us, but we still have to add these effects. Let's go down to delay. It's going to use whatever this is.
Box. Shout
Just going to use a preset because I don't have time to be doing too much here. Let's do 1/4 simple pan. And now we can left click this little knob to send it over to the delay.
out to my jeweler.
And let's combine the delay with reverb. See their built-in reverb. Just going to use the first one. The main thing is that these effects are 100% on, and then we're sending the vocal over to these effects.
Came and shot it like a diamond. Feel like Rick the Ruler. All these beats in my email. I didn't got to choosing. Hopped in a booth, then went stupid over Mets ice. I need a box. Shout out to my jeweler. I came and shot it like a diamond. Feel like Rick the Ruler. All these beats in my email. I didn't got to choosing. Hopped in a booth, then went stupid over Mets ice. I need a box. Shout out to my jeweler. I came and shot it like a diamond. Feel like Rick the Ruler.
Okay, so pretty simple. So here's before the vocal mixing.
All these beats in my email. I didn't got to
How did I forget the one main thing, which is Logic Pro also has a built-in auto tune. So let's do pitch correction, and let's slide this at the top of the chain. Okay, so this DAW had probably the best stock version of this. Okay, let's see if we can get it up top. Okay, so now we have that. I think the key was G minor, so let's go to root, G, scale, natural minor. Let's see what we can find here. Natural minor scale.
choosing. Hopped in a booth.
We want the retune speed to be pretty fast.
Then went stupid over Mets ice. I need a box. Shout out to my jeweler. I came and shot it like a diamond. Feel like Rick the Ruler. All these beats in my email. I didn't got to choosing. Hopped in a booth, then went stupid over Mets ice. I need a box. Shout out to my jeweler. I came and shot it like a diamond, feel like Rick the Ruler. All these beats in my email, I didn't got to choosing. Hopped in a booth, then went stupid over Mets ice. I need a box.
Still, the EQ's a little boxy on this vocal.
Shout out to my jeweler. I came and shot it like a diamond, feel like Rick the Ruler. All these beats in my email, I didn't got to choosing. Hopped in a booth, then went stupid over Mets ice. I need a.
One last tip is keep in mind, guys, that when you use different pitch correction tools, it can add more frequencies that you didn't even have in your vocal. It can add that mud to your vocal. So as you guys can see, Logic Pro stock plugins gives you the best sound, in my opinion. Ableton's second best, but it's missing that pitch correction. And then FL Studio is just like, it takes so much work to make something sound good that I just would recommend you guys just try to get your vocal recording situated first. All right, so that's my tip for today. Subscribe if you're new, like this video. If you want to learn more, go to our Mixing Fundamentals. We mix acoustic stuff, hip hop. Just go to Mixing Fundamentals on our website, busyworksbeats.com. See you guys there. Peace.